Panda is going crazy. We've got new Royal Knight support. They've got a Lingering Floodgate now, a new Purge, and a Searcher. I don't think that's a tier 0 like support, but it's going to get a lot faster. And I think there is a new way of playing Royal Knights. There's been security control Royal Knights. There's been the Crimson mode, Omni X Purge thing, where you get rushed at the end of turn and trash top security. And I think the future is just playing out a lot of small bodies together with Jesmon from BT20 and the new Leopardmon with the CS trade. They can just play out anything with 5,000 or less. I think there's a lot of potential. And I want to go through the cards because they're insane, bro. So yeah, I don't think it's tier 0, but tier 1 is at least back in it. Ever since BT21 and 22 came out and players got accustomed to Royal Knights, I don't think that stuff like the Omega and Omni X from raising or from the breeding area into the board is like a surprise for anyone. Like there are outs. There's Rune mode, there's Chaosmon, Chaosmon Valdo Arm that can just turn off the on plays. Obviously that's more with Sakuyamon, but yeah, also if you can't play by effects, can't use on plays, or if the Omega doesn't get out, you're pretty fine. Royal Knights is just a little bit too slow to be the top deck for tier 0. And right now, like, they've got so many good tools right now. Like, Royal Knights doesn't have an in archetype Floodgate, right? They don't have, like, in archetype Lingering Floodgates, but now Gallantmon turns off the trash entirely. They can't play Digimon by effect and Tamers by effect when it comes from the trash. So, we'll go in detail about that. So just that as a thing, Lingering Floodgate is insane. I was talking to one of my friends with them. I was like, yeah, the new support is not going to change anything as long as they don't interrupt or like hinder the enemy, right? And Gallantmon just does exactly that. The new King Brazil is insane. It doesn't have Royal Knights trade, otherwise it would be just broken. Just a purge whenever, it doesn't matter how many Yggdrasil you already hatched, it's always for 3. And you get 1 more reduction. So if you play a Magnamon for 0 and Yggdrasil for 3, that's just next turn 2 new Royal Knights and Yggdrasil. Crazy tempo. The Craniamon just has protection on every Royal Knight, which is insane. No, it actually says any Digimon or Tamer. So yeah, crazy. Again, we'll go into detail, but let's move on. The early game is insane with the new Hugmon because I'm a huge defender of the Leopardmon. I think Leopardmon should be at least a 3 of or a 4 of. It's even better than Magnamon turn 1. Because turn 1, no one is going to out the Leopardmon, right? So they're not going to get the overflow, and Yggdrasil can protect it because it's in raising. You can't interact with the raising. So Leopardmon turn 1 is insane. The new Hugmon search is pretty nice. What also is pretty good is the old Omegamon, because you just play it out for 0. You don't have to pay 4 memories. So having a Leopardmon in hand together with the Omega is much better than in BT13. So the Omega is like has indirectly gotten a pretty good push, a pretty good support. The Gallantmon is crazy. It stops 5 decks that are pretty important in the meta, I'd say. Like Malamiotosmon is going to be one of the top deck contender because it's a little bit prone to break, yeah, but it still has an insane advantage loop. Like getting out the Malamiotosmon for 3 memory, and then getting 3 on deletions, which is 2 Tamers and 1 level 6 Digimon. That's so much advantage to just drown in, it's insane. Gromon X is still a thing, let it be Gilbert's or like the purple variant. Gromon X is still an insane card, and Loop is still going. Virus Imperial hasn't been played much, but at a local level I have been traumatized by Virus Imperial, so I'm pretty glad Gallantmon got a natural out for Royal Knights. Purple Hybrid hasn't been around that much either, but yeah, that one's also off. And Dark Animal Engine, which I actually despise. Cerberus X should be on the ban list. But yeah, right now, I don't think with Gallantmon that should be a problem anymore. Leviamon, Lord Knight. Leviamon is just turned off, right? You can go for Royal Knight's turn, use the Gallantmon on play first, and there's no interaction anymore. You also win the mirror match because the opponent cannot play. Oh no, from trash. Raising is not the trash, but it's still fine. Like the Gallantmon is crazy. Nothing comes from trash, so you're pretty safe. Next up, the Craniamon is insane because 11 cost Royal Knights are the best Royal Knights. They're the most cheap ones, which still have an effect, right? I mean, you still got Dynasmon, but Dynasmon only searches, so that's no board state. And the your turn is pretty hard to come by because you need to play another Royal Knight, so yeah, pretty hard. 11 cost is the most cheapest thing you can have, right after Leopard and Magnamon. And Craniamon is insane because blocker, first of all, is kind of fine blocker with protection. Like if the opponent tries to chip, with things like an Ukumon or any other rookie that wants to go in with Rush, let it be Gromon X, I don't know. There's just a block, and Either they go in for the attack and you get the block and the deletion, which is just 2 things. Obviously, they can play around the Craniamon all turns because it's always the lowest play cost. They can just attack with the lowest play cost, which you, I guess, don't have to block because lowest play cost might be lowest DP and they might die in security against Royal Knights. But yeah, there's a part, there's a thing to that. So, and the all turns is insane, right? It's 1 layer of protection, which is, again, for 11 cost, turn 2, that's for 4 memory. So 4 memory is, yeah, again, really cheap. You're going to set your opponent to, let's say, 2 or 3 memory, or even 1 memory if you've got some crazy Leopardmon into Omegamon, and now you've got 8 reduction on turn 2. So the Craniamon having 1 layer of protection at turn 2 is insanely early, and not a lot of things can delete in level 6, 11 DP, and deletion all turns Digimon on the 2nd turn. Like, that's just way too much protection and way too big. Yeah. So Omni, if you go for gain, right, with the Omni turn, everyone gets rush. There might be some ace cards, like the Oryukin or the Leopardmon, and with this Craniamon, these aces are fine. Like, not even Medieval might out it, because you can just go for Craniamon and... Oh no, wait, Crania could be suspended. You haven't heard that, but any option card in security, let it be Beelzemon, Deathslinger, highest level will be deleted. That might be your Oryukin, and Craniamon can just tank that shot, right? I mean, besides that, you've got the Jessamon token, which can decoy, but Craniamon is another layer of protection, especially for the Leopardmon ace, because that one is in red or black, so the Jessamon token cannot decoy it. Craniamon, insane. At least, I think it's a 2-off, because this protection in the Omniturn is really, really important. The King Brazil is insane. It can do literally anything, right? It's always for 3. It's insane because you can either keep it in Yggdrasil, so you can do your Omniturn 1 memory earlier. Obviously 1 more reduction because you've got more sources. But if you've gotten enough memory because your opponent had to spend a lot of memory outing your Royal Knights, then you can just play it out at the start of main phase, and then you've got 1 more attacker. Or you can give a Ray Reboot blocker if that's more your type, right? This is insane. Also, if you play it out not in the Omni turn, but any other turn, let's say turn 3 or onwards, because that's possible, right? If you play Leopardmon out together with an Omegamon, you've got like 2 sources already. Turn 2, you can put the Yggdrasil under. So you've got 3 sources, and 3 sources plus the 3 Yggdrasil, 6 sources, which means Yggdrasil is online from turn 3 and onward if you're pretty fast. Yeah, so you don't even have to high roll that, right? If you just have 2 7 costs and the Yggdrasil, that's already 3 sources plus Yggdrasil on turn 3. So if you go for turn 3 and play out the Yggdrasil, and you've got Leopard or Oryukin, which are pretty cheap, you can gain the memory back, because Leopardmon might be able to play out the Hakmon, which we've seen earlier. Hakmon is CS trait, so because Hakmon is CS trait, Yggdrasil can give the Hakmon rush, and he can rush attack with 1000, and Leopardmon gains 2 memory if anything else leaves the battle area. So that's a +2 memory play, which means you can play some low end, some Cool Boy. We'll get into Cool Boy in just a moment, but you can play out something with the memory you just gained, right? Oryukin did just the same thing, give Oryukin rush with the Yggdrasil, and then you can go in for +3 memory. Insane. You might even be able to place another Yggdrasil with that. It's crazy. It's just fucking crazy. Next up, we've got the Rush deck list that I've thought about, because lately I've been tinkering with the BT20 Hakmon into Master to Disciple, because Hakmon is just a really good target at turn 1 with the Leopardmon. Same thing with the Hakmon. Leopardmon will not be deleted. Level 6 12k turn 1 is not outable by most decks, as well as Hakmon. Like the BT20 one has a start of main, so the new BT23 Hakmon might be better because it has an on-play. And if that guy sticks around, or if you use the Leopardmon on your turn to with 7 reduction, it's free, so you're still at your turn. You can use Master to Disciple to go deeper into your deck, which is pretty good. And as you can see, like Hakmon is a 4-off and Master to Disciple is a 3-off. And we've got some other cards that were put into the deck or changed around the deck. Omniax is only a 2-off in this deck list, which means the cards that have gone for these slots are obviously the Cool Boy and the Omegamon from BT20. Reason for that being they're just too slow. They are insanely slow. Like, some of you might be molding. I can understand. Let me know in the comments. But Omegamon and Omnimon is not beatable for some decks. But for the top decks, for the best decks, This is just not enough. Getting out Omni-X on your opponent's turn because they attack and you have only one security can be still neck-breaking. Like, you don't want cards that say, oh, you've got some comeback potential when you're about to lose. Like, you want to win the game before that, so you want to rush in. You don't want to get into a grind game and be like a lazy, like a person, like, I'm going safe, right? I'm like, oh yeah, I've got the Omicron and Raising. Yeah, no shit. And then someone goes Rune mode or Chaos mode and goes for game. Yeah, get fucked. And Medieval is the same thing, right? If they get Medieval out and try to go for game, they can just suspend and delete the Omicron again. So that's just, it's over. So, Omni-X is still a pretty good thing for big bodies because bottom deck plus raid is really, really nice. And might be worth the 16 play cost. Apart from that, everything is 11 cost or lower. And a lot of low play cost Digimon, like Sistemon Blanc is also a Leopardmon target, Omicron is a Leopardmon target, and Hackmon is a Leopardmon target. So we've got 12 of those. Also has complementary plays if your 11 costs are just cheap enough so you can keep turn. And yeah, Sistemon is pretty good to finding your non-engine, which is the Medieval Gallantmon, before it and the King Drasil, because it's not in Archetype Royal Knights. So you want to draw a lot of cards. Again, Sistemon is the only card that kind of draws cards. I mean, Omega as well, but it's only draw one, and you place one from hand at the bottom of Yggdrasil, and Magnamon searches a card, draws a card. So yeah, you want to find your non-engine, but I think the new Yggdrasil might be a 4-off, and it also recycles itself. You don't put one card under, you put it under, and then draw a card. So yeah, this is just insane. It's even more, let's say, hand size efficient than the old Purge, because Purge is basically, you've got Purge itself and a Royal Knight, and you only draw one card, so that's a -1. Yggdrasil, you only got Yggdrasil removed from your hand, and you draw a card, so that's card neutral, right? Yeah, so that's the thing. I also think with Purge being at 1, I don't think the Omicron will be that safe to get under Yggdrasil. You more likely have to play out an Omega for 5 costs, which is much worse than playing it under Yggdrasil with Purge for just 3 memory. So yeah, I think Omicron BT20 and Cool Boy BT20 are just way too slow, and Royal Knights is going to be more Swarm Rush deck in the future. That's my assumption. I also played other things. I've played the security control with like Revelation of Light, Kari Kamiya, and Erdramon or whatever, and the Alphamon that recovers. That one is just hand advantage minus 10 million. At some point you only have 2 cards in hand. One of them is Omni-X, the other one is I don't know, a second Kari Kamiya or Cool Boy, and you'll not get into the game. So security control plus Royal Knights just has no draw engine and it dies on the spot, right? You can fuck up some people because it's still like sec control and yeah, option cards and the raising and stuff like that. But yeah, that's not working. And I think the old way of playing Crimson mode, if your opponent attacks, you can just ace. Or if you've got Omni-X on the field, you can just play out the Crimson mod for 8, at the end of turn give it rush when attacking trash the top cards and close games faster that way. I just think that's not possible anymore with the Purge being at 1, because Purge is so important. Getting out the Omni-X with rush is insane. You don't need the on play, right? The end of turn gain rush and attack is just enough. It is enough. And yeah, again, Cool Boy and Omega is too slow. I think this is the future. I hope you enjoyed this video. I was really shocked when I saw the new support cards, and I think Royal Knights will get a big step up the tier list. So yeah, tier 1, no doubt. I'll see you next video. Bye.